What is up, guys? Austin here for this month's top 5 video, and to join me today for this month's I have Lucas, LC Muscles.
Back from a too long absence.
Yes, welcome back, sir.
Thank you.
And Alex A. Pizzle 90.
Always glad to be here. I love you.
We're done with half the year, so we've gotten done guilty pleasures, African American movies, chick flicks, foreign films, stoner movies, thank you. Stoner films and foreign films. We're doing this month documentaries. That's right. Now, of course, we do have some honorable mentions.
My first honorable mention is a recent documentary banned from directing for 20 years after the film came out. And
what's it called?
This is called This Is Not a Film.
I think I've heard of that one.
Yeah, it's a recent film. It came out a little while ago. He usually films most of the movie through his phone.
Oh,
so
really?
Shows like all his travels, especially trying to come into the U.S. But he's wrongly profiled in the movie, and he shows what happens. Next honorable mention is gonna be surprised. It's not my top 5. It is Apollo 13.
That's not a documentary.
Yeah, it is. I thought it was a documentary.
Well, the one with Tom Hanks?
The one with Tom Hanks.
That's not a documentary.
That's a biopic.
That's a biopic.
Oh, I thought my next honorable mention is one that stars 2 high school athletes that they go to play sport and they go to college for. It's called Hoop Dreams.
Oh, never heard of that one.
That's a good one.
Hoop Dreams is really good. I liked Hoop Dreams.
That's in my top 10.
And the last honorable mention, you're going to be really surprised. This is not in my top 5.
Whatever.
Super Size Me.
Okay, that's okay. I mean, as long as you've mentioned it, that's fine.
Super Size Me it was very close between my number 5 and my number 6.
Oh, you kept flipping them back and forth and everything?
They're flipping back and they're like kind of like flip back and forth. So this one is an iconic documentary starring Morgan Spurlock.
Morgan Spurlock.
I hate McDonald's now because there is actually some really stupid stuff they put in their ingredients. Especially one article I saw recently.
Big Mac, Thousand Iron
the
dressing.
mayonnaise.
Come on.
The mayonnaise actually had a trace of semen in it.
What?
Yep, they actually found semen in mayonnaise from McDonald's. I am not making this up.
Oh my god!
This is a FDA found this in their like research, like for the McDonald's mayonnaise. So
oh my god!
That's why I'm never getting McDonald's ever again.
You have opened my eyes!
Fuck you, McDonald's.
I have 3 honorable mentions. One of them is, there's been multiple of these, so I'm gonna put them together as one. It's called The Faces of Death. It's basically, it's a really, really fucked up documentary. You see all these, like, the causes of death and things, like you see a bunch of people die, you see animals dying. But I remember watching this once where I actually, like, see someone, like, dying, like, literally raw footage on camera. The next one is, it's not too long a documentary, it's like 55 minutes. It's called The Price of Pleasure. It's about pornography relationships, and, you know, it basically showed, like, the impact of pornography on, you know, society and how it affects relationships and everything. And my last one, this is about probably the dirtiest joke ever told, The Aristocrats.
Oh
my god.
Yes, this was close to being my top 5. I was flipping it back and forth by number 5, but this made it into honorable mentions. It is one of the funniest documentaries I've ever seen. It's about comedians that explain the dirtiest joke ever told in history. Like, every comedian has their own little different spin on it.
A family walks into a talent agency.
Don't ever do choreography ever again. No. But story type is that a family goes into a talent agency and they start doing an act that ends up being the most fucked up act that the talent agency has ever seen. If you're into this type of humor, you're gonna laugh your ass off.
So what do you call yourselves?
And they say, The Aristocrats! And then usually at the end of it, the agency goes like,
okay, I also have 3 honorable mentions. My first one is it's a documentary. It's based off of...
Well, of course it's a documentary.
Yeah. Well, it's based off one of my favorite singers. It's called This Is Elvis.
Oh, they're gonna do This Is It by Michael Jackson.
No.
That's not what
No, that one was It has his voice and he explains his life. And it's played by actors, and the actors live out through his life, and it's pretty cool. The second one is called Hitman Hart Wrestling with Shadows.
I knew you were gonna put a wrestling one in there.
Yep, that's Bret the Hitman Hart. He's one of my favorite wrestlers of all time. My last honorable mention is called More Than Perfect.
What?
It's about the single greatest team in the NFL's history, the 1972 Miami Dolphins.
Football talk.
You know why?
Of course. Why?
Because they went undefeated. And how they did, it's just awesome. and it hasn't been done since, and it probably never will again.
Number 5.
My number 5 is a film that is based off one of my favorite things to do in the world.
Workout?
Weightlifting.
I knew it.
Yep. This movie is called Bigger, Stronger, Faster.
I knew it.
With an asterisk.
I knew it. I knew it! I knew you were gonna put this on here. I knew you were gonna put it on there.
Really? You remember? You really thought I was gonna put this on? No.
Yes!
I had a feeling you would too.
I knew it.
Good. Documentary about two brothers, Smelly and Mad Dog, the director Christopher Bell's brothers, who take steroids because their idols, Arnold Schwarzenegger, Sylvester Stallone, all those guys.
Hulk Hogan.
All of them have taken steroids once in their life. You get to see the roid rage, you get to see the weightlifting, you get to see everything. How it impacts their lives and everything. Steroids are just the worst thing you could take in your body. It's gonna cut your life short no matter what. And they may not think in the short run it'll hurt yourself, but in the long run, oh my god, it fucks
small balls.
And that's why it's my number 5.
Alright, my number 5 has to do with, I'm just gonna get right to it. It is Craigslist Joe.
Ah.
Yes. Alex was the one who got me to watch this one. It was me, my dad, and Alex watched this one. And it's about this guy named Joe, of course. He has this goal to use Craigslist for about a year, I believe, or about
30 days.
Yeah, for about 30 days. He can only use Craigslist to get food, to get a job, to go transportation. He has to use it to do everything. He actually spends one night homeless, and just to see, like, it's a really interesting social experiment to see, like, how to see, people help and like reach out and like help out him basically. And it was really cool to actually see, like, basically 3 words: faith in humanity restored. Or 4 words, actually, my bad. This movie really pretty much showed me that, that not everyone is really evil out there. That's why it's number 5.
Okay, my number 5 is very violent. My number 5 is called Cocaine Cowboys.
I've heard of it.
This took place in the late 70s and early 80s.
Oh, wow.
Back when Miami, back when Miami was a hellhole. Nobody wanted to be there.
Scarface style, pretty much?
Well, this is before Scarface.
Oh.
This is before Miami Vice. This is before all the prettiness. It was all about drugs and violence and murder. That was a great documentary. They also had 2 sequels to it. Cocaine Cowboys is a great documentary. You should definitely check it out. That's why it's my number 5.
Number 4.
My number 4. You mentioned it, it's on my African American list. This was one of the movies in there. So, this is one of my favorite documentaries. It's called Biggie and Tupac.
Of course.
I remember this, yes.
This was a great documentary. It shows Biggie and Tupac in the prime, like as they grew up, and then getting into the peak of the rap business and having the whole East Coast versus West Coast war. If you just want to see more explanation on it, check my honorable mentions, the African American list.
My number 4 has to do with, it's kind of Craigslist Joe, but it's in a different realm of online stuff. It has to do with online dating. My number 4 is Catfish. Yeah, Catfish, it's a movie that everyone knows Catfish. Everyone has used the term catfish, that, oh, you got catfished. Catfish is a term now.
What about dogfish?
So Catfish basically follows this guy named Neil, or Neb. Yes, Neb, that's what his name was. He uses Facebook a lot, and he gets this message from a girl named Abby. They instant message each other because she's an artist, and he is documented by the filmmakers Ariel, Schumann, and the directors of Paranormal Activity 3 and 4, basically. Through Abby, he meets his relationship thing, who happens to be this girl named Megan, who he believes is like this really gorgeous woman, does a lot of cover things. But as the relationship goes on, he discovers things about her that aren't so true. It's this non-stop thrill ride of a documentary. Catfish basically shows that online dating isn't all that what it seems to be. And that is why Catfish is my number 4.
My number 4 is called The Wrestling Road Diaries.
Another wrestling one.
Yes.
Was I surprised?
Honestly, yes.
Shocker!
This features 3 wrestlers: Colt Cabana, Bryan Danielson, aka Daniel Bryan, and Sal Rinauro. These guys are on the road pretty much all the time. This is way before Daniel Bryan was in the WWE. They're on the road. This pretty much gives you the backstory of what life on the road is like for them and how they make their money. Like, they gotta live on a budget pretty much. How they do it is just pretty awesome, and how they save their money. I guarantee you a lot of people are in here like, where's Beyond the Mat? Isn't that the best wrestling documentary of all time? Nope.
My number 3 is definitely one I don't know if you guys will find this find my choice very too convincing, but this is a good documentary overall. It's very well made, and it pretty much promoted a global trend that has continued today. Number 3 is The Inconvenient Truth.
I think I've heard that one. I've heard that one. I haven't seen it though.
Jeez.
Are you serious? Like, you haven't seen it, Austin?
I've heard about it.
I think everyone, almost when it first came out, everyone was watching this stuff.
I never saw it.
I did, unfortunately.
Unfortunately, what do you mean?
It wasn't good.
You don't like it?
No.
Well, anyway, it was David gave us
global warming.
Pretty much Al Gore's message about global warming and conservationism, trying to protect Mother Earth, because if we don't protect Mother Earth soon, especially with recycling, a lot of people didn't really recycle until Al Gore started to do it, and
that's true.
So that's why it's my number 3.
My number 3 is one of Lucas' honorable mentions. My number 3 is Super Size Me.
Mine too.
Fuck. Follows Morgan Spurlock, who is one of the best documentary filmmakers out there. He has to eat 3 meals a day, only from McDonald's menu, and he tries to get all the way, yes. And if he has to get supersized, he must get supersized.
No questions about it.
Only if he is asked. So many unwelcome effects to his body. I've been like, he gets depressed. He loses a lot of his sex drive from what
he's pretty much dead.
I still can't believe the semen thing. That still boggles my mind.
Oh yeah. Rock and roll McDonald's. Rock and roll McDonald's.
I remember everyone was doing that in my class when I first watched it. Rock and roll McDonald's. Fuck you.
One of the scenes I remember vividly is when they were showing little kids pictures of certain people. One of them was like George Washington. Another one was Jesus Christ.
Just started.
Shows the picture of Jesus, and the kid says George W. Bush.
George W. Bush. He turns it around. I can see the resemblance.
No, that's a good guess, though.
That's a good guess, though. That's why it's number 3.
That's why number 3.
Number 2.
My number 2 is technically a documentary, but it does mock some things in the movie.
It's a mockumentary.
It's called a mockumentary, and everyone should know it's probably the most famous mockumentary of all time, Borat. Sacha Baron Cohen as Borat, as he comes from his home nation, Kazakhstan, to come to America and pretty much live in America, pretty much, and it shows all his journeys of what he does in America. So many stupid but funny scenes in the movies. This movie, when I first saw it, I was crying.
Same.
So much. It was,
when we saw it was a packed theater.
It was hilarious. Borat shined in every scene, so that's why it's my number 2.
Alright, my number 2 is one of those documentaries that is really hard to watch, especially if this has happened to any of you guys out there. My number 2 is Bully.
Oh, I heard of it.
Yep. Bully is directed by, I can't remember who the guy, Lee something, I can't remember what the guy's directing name was. Apparently it follows a couple of kids, and it also follows these families after the tragic death of their kids having committed suicide from bullying. And it follows this one kid named Tyler. I can't remember what the guy's name was, but I remember his name was Tyler. And no kid liked him in his school. There's an actual scene that showed him on the bus. They were actually filming him getting bullied. It sucks because, you know, I was bullied.
Yep,
I was bullied. All 3 of us were bullied here, and it really sucks because it's the thing that still happens today. It just shows that, you know, just because, you know, there's an adult around them doesn't mean they're all happy-go-lucky kids. They're gonna be little pricks if they want to. If you've been bullied, this is a movie that you should watch because you will relate to it in so many ways. And the director relates to it too because he's been bullied too. That's why it's my number 2.
Don't be a bully, be a star. My number 2 is something Austin already mentioned. It's Craigslist Joe.
Wow, this high.
Oh yeah. Originally I had it at my number 1, but between my number 2 and my number 1, I really couldn't decide. Yeah, he goes around the country. He meets new friends.
Yeah.
Meets new people, and it just shows that that people can be nice.
Yeah.
That people can be open, and be honest, and open up their cars, their homes to just your average guy.
Exactly.
Your average Joe. Simply put, that's my number 2.
It's number 1.
Number 1, it should be obvious what the number 1 documentary of all time is. This documentary is applicable to for kids, adults, everyone. It is just, without a doubt, a perfect documentary. Number one is March of the Penguins.
Nope, not mine.
Oh my!
Not mine.
Are you serious?
Freeman?
It is
Yes,
not
with
mine.
Morgan
honestly,
Freeman.
I have not seen it.
Me neither.
Are you fucking serious?
Me neither.
You have never seen March of the Penguins?
Bitch.
You have never seen March of the Penguins?
Nope.
No.
Didn't interest me.
Oh, Jesus sakes. Fuck.
I love this movie from start to finish. This is a perfect documentary. It shows penguins.
In your eyes.
Penguins traveling across the Antarctic. You get to see their lives. You get to see how they mate. You get to see how they have to survive in the wild. You get to see everything. Yeah. Even the waddling, yeah. And there are some parts that teared me up, especially when one of the penguins gets eaten by a seal that can like really just rip apart a penguin. That part, oh my, that part like really just made me cry because I was rooting for that penguin to escape. He was close to escape. It was like, no, you can't leave. You can't be eaten. No, well, you bastard! The penguins are just awesome in every way. That's why penguins are one of my favorite animals. If you want a documentary done right, get it narrated by Morgan Freeman. Enough said.
In my eyes, this documentary is the best documentary. My number one is a movie that has to do with the film industry. Oh. My number one is this film is not yet rated.
Not heard of it. You haven't heard of it? Huh.
No, Alright, well, basically follows this guy. Oh, fuck, what was the guy's? I can't remember what the guy's name is who directed it. As he follows the MPAA, you know, the Motion Picture Association of America, they're the main guys who rate movies, you know, G, PG, PG-13, R, or X, or NC-17 as it's called these days. And he follows how they rate movies and how, like, what's going on with the organization, who hires them and everything. You find out some really interesting things about, like, Joan Graves, who is the only known member of the public, hires them personally herself. There are family members that are going to the MPA. There's actually religious organizations, some priests that are actually work for the MPA today from what I've heard. A lot of stuff goes on down there. There's one interview with Kevin Smith. He's had some collabs with MPA, tons of them. With Clerks, he almost got into 17 rating, but he got the appeal to get it rated R for very graphic language. They talk about Matt Stone, you know, the creators of South Park.
Parker, Stone.
Well, no, Matt Stone was interviewed, not Trey Parker. But they were talking about Orgasmo, a really funny movie. They were talking about Team America World Police. They were talking about the South Park movie and how they were really random, like some points of like the MPAA won't tell you what to do with the movie, and there's sometimes they'll give you every little detail what to do with it. So they're fucking hypocrites. If you're a wannabe filmmaker out there, or if you're really interested in this MPA, how it works, watch this movie. It definitely opened my eyes and made me think the MPA are such hypocritical people. I mean, they rate movies for the dumbest reasons. But anyways, I don't want to go any further. That's why this film was not rated as my number one.
My number one, oh, this should be pretty obvious if you know me. I'm a music guy.
Oh.
So, the Beatles are my favorite band of all time.
Oh.
So, put two and two together, my number one is The Complete Beatles.
The Complete Beatles?
The Complete Beatles. This is the documentary that I used to watch all the time when I was a kid.
Huh.
It was all about the Beatles all the time. Yeah, they pretty much show them when they were starting out, during their big years, when they were just coming across the pond from the UK to America. Huh. Everything from that until they break up, unfortunately. And that's why The Complete Beatles is my number one.
Alright, y'all, the moment you've all been waiting for. I believe there's a few of these out there for documentaries. It is time for the shitstains of documentaries.
Yes, sir. I'll go first.
I was gonna say, yeah, go for it.
No, what were you gonna say?
I was gonna say, surprisingly, this is the first time I do not have a shit stain.
Oh, wow.
Me and Alex do.
As I said before, I'm a music fan.
Oh, Jesus.
This is a sequel to a other documentary. Came out last year. It's by
Justin Bieber?
Justin Bieber's Believe.
Do you actually watch it?
That's not my shit stain. That is not my shit stain.
You actually watched that?
Yeah.
I feel bad for you.
I do feel bad.
The power of Christ compels you.
You have a shit stain.
This is pretty much a sequel. This really didn't need to be made. This did not need to be made. They already made Never Say Never. It's pretty much the same thing. Yeah, it was pretty much just the same movie.
Really?
Except he was older and he...
Same movie?
And he cried. He cried.
Hardy fucking hard!
That's my shit stain.
This one pretty much screwed a musician's career. If you know what this documentary is, a lot of people do. It's very well known as one of the worst documentaries of all time.
Roadhouse.
It's called Living with Michael Jackson.
Oh, wow.
Living with Michael Jackson.
I've seen this. I have seen this.
Never heard of it.
It's probably screwed Michael Jackson. This is the movie that really defined Michael Jackson as a pedophile. One of the scenes is when that really was part of the pedophile thing was when he was hanging out with sleeping with his this little boy. I think it was his son. I think I think he was like playing with him inappropriate or like doing stupid stuff.
They actually showed it?
No, they didn't show it, but they described it.
I don't know why they would show that stuff.
That's just wrong though. It showed Michael Jackson acting inappropriately.
Did this come out in 2003?
Yes. Yes, it did. It came out in late 2003.
June 2003.
Well, in December,
February 2003.
In November or December, he got arrested for it. They showed him dangling the baby, right?
Yes, they showed him dangling the baby
off of the balcony, right?
That was just plain wrong.
Rest in peace.
Rest in peace, but
he may have been fucked up, but he were talented.
He was talented. That's why it's my shit stain.
Alright guys, those were our top 5 documentaries, honorable mentions, and of course the shit stains as usual. Thank you to Alex and Lucas for joining with me in this one. Comment and let us know below of what your top 5 documentaries are, if you have some honorable mentions, and of course if you have one that really pissed you off. And until next month's top 5, we will see you guys next month.
See you later, and stay awesome, and stay swole.
God.